Guys, welcome. What is up? I am Matty Turner from The Chief Life. I'm one of the co-founders here, and I'm really excited to be able to bring this to you. So over the next 8 weeks, we're going to get to work in a lot with you guys. We're going to be working through a few different webinars, a few different really interactional type pieces, and that might look like doing some yoga classes, doing some breath work, doing some meditation classes, and realistically, the whole concept around this is to look at lifestyle and look at the things that we can really help to implement in this isolation lifestyle, and to kind of prep you guys up and make sure that you're living the best life you can be living. So that's where we're coming from. That's why we're really excited to be working with you and your gym. If you guys do have any questions, you can pop them down in the notes. I'll get to them as I go, but I'm pretty much going to go through, and what I might do is look at it after each section and see if there's any questions popping up. But it is a live Q&A, so if you do have any questions, definitely feel free just to hit me up as we go. So today, what we're diving into is building an immune system to fend off COVID-19. Coronavirus has kind of hit the world by storm, and I think in these unprecedented times, there's some things that are quite scary and quite unknown to us, and that creates a bit of angst or a bit of stress in the body. And what we really want to do is work with you guys to try and get rid of that as much as we can. Make sure that you have your immune system ready to rumble. So even if everyone else around you is getting sick, whether it's because of the flu or any sort of other thing like COVID or whatever it might be, that your immune system is ready to take that on. What I think some people are kind of missing, or it's like something that they overtouch a little bit, is the people who are most affected is the immune suppressed, the old, the smokers, the incredibly obese. And so unless you are one of these, it obviously takes away. If you are one of these, it means that we need to do some things quickly. If you are not one of these people, then it takes away a little bit of stress or a little bit of angst for you. It means that yes, you are still able to catch the virus. Yes, you're still able to have that as a thing. But what we really want to think of is that for right now, it might not necessarily affect you as badly. And so what we can do, and what we're going to talk about today a lot about, is what you can do to build up your immune system, make sure that your lifestyle is supporting you, and making sure that you're not constantly stressed, making sure that you are sleeping, making sure that you're getting correct amounts of nutrition in, and making sure that life is, although a bit different, it's not a stressful thing. Okay, so progressing forward, there's the basics which you've been told, which is washing your hands. Wash your hands for 20 seconds. Make sure you're doing happy birthday twice through, I think it is. Wearing, or don't wear masks. This is a big one that's kind of a bit confusing. I think it's, if you do not have coronavirus, you're not meant to be wearing a mask, because essentially it can attach itself to clothing, to materials. If you're wearing a mask and you wear that mask multiple times, essentially you're then carrying that around with you, which is kind of crazy. Social distancing, which is a massive one that obviously I think Australia has done a pretty good job in the whole, as a whole so far, and we've seen today that the curve is dropping back down, which is great. Some things you might not have heard is increasing your vitamin C. In New York in particular, they've been using high doses of vitamin C to dose people up to fight COVID-19, which is crazy, or coronavirus. Increase your vitamin D. This comes from a basic health standpoint. Making sure that we've got high amounts or proper amounts of vitamin D is really good for your immune system, but it also does things for your gut bacteria and other stuff we're going to dive into as we get along. Boosting your immune system through your food and lifestyle, which is really what today is going to cover up on, what we're really going to dive into quite a lot. So this is kind of a bit of an overview. Some of the best things you can be doing right now for your health. And I don't know if you guys follow us. If you're not, you should definitely jump across on Instagram at thechieflife.com. You can follow us on Facebook, which is facebook.com/thechieflife. And finally, you can hit subscribe button actually whilst you're watching this video. A quick little subscribe to the YouTube channel. And we put heaps of different content out, and it might look a little something like this. So this one here, what we're going to dive into today is we're talking about sleep. We're talking about eating healthy foods. We're talking about hot showers and saunas and what that can do for the body. We're talking about vitamin C, vitamin D, sunlight. We're talking about nasal breathing, movement, and staying hydrated, as well as a few other things that we've left off the list here. So let's dive straight into it, guys. Sleep is super important. Sleep is our number one recovery tool. So yes, we need to be eating. Yes, we need to be doing the things we need to do to get through life. But realistically, sleep is one of the most optimal things we can do for our health and for our body. If you think about everything we do within a day, it takes emotional energy, it takes physical energy, And what we need to see at the end of the day is that we can restore that via having sleep. You can go a day without eating and be fine the next day. You can go a day without drinking, and although you might be tired, you can still be fine the next day. If you go a day without sleeping, the next day you feel like crap, okay? You wake up, or you don't wake up because you've been awake the whole time. You start to have a drunk-like effect, okay? So your reaction time slows down. Everything in general slows down. Your mind, the way your body acts slows down. And what we really need to do is making sure that we're getting good sleep, quality sleep every night. Even if you're limiting your sleep or getting enough sleep, we want to make sure that the quality of sleep is really important, or that it's as optimal as it should be. So a few things to know is that a sleep cycle is 1.5 hours long. I'm going to pause there because we are actually going to talk about sleep in detail on week 5, that is. So week 5, we're diving really deep into sleep. Today is just a quick overview on it. But an 1.5 hour sleep cycle, what that means is that when we go to sleep, we go through our 5 stages of sleep and back out within the 1.5 hours. Okay, this happens continuously over and over and over in the night. If we're aiming for 8 hours of sleep, what happens is we're not in a multiple of 1.5 hours. So what that means is that you're waking up in the middle of the sleep cycle, which is why when you set your alarm for say 8 hours and you wake up and you're like, I slept the whole way through, why the heck do I feel groggy? Like, why am I not energized? Why am I not feeling great? And that's the exact reason, because you're in the middle of a sleep cycle and your body's waking up to the alarm saying like, get up, it's time to get moving. And you're like, what the heck is happening? I'm still in REM sleep, which is like the rapid eye movement sleep where we get our most rest. And so you've just pulled your body out of it. It's like the worst kind of, I guess, sleep problem we can get realistically, okay? So what we want to be seeing is multiples of 90 minutes. So this looks like, ideally, we're looking to get more than 4.5. We're looking to get more than 6 even if we can. 7.5 plus is going to be optimal, especially right now. If we can, whilst there's extra stress because of what's happening in the world right now, whilst we've got a little bit of extra time at home, what we can do is do 7.5 hour sleeps where possible. If you cannot get that in, or you can get that in, it's still encouraged to do a micro cycle, which is the 25-minute power nap. Some people will be cheering at that. You'll be absolutely stoked. It means you can go have a little nap here and there. A power nap, it is important that we're keeping it at either 25 minutes, like 20 to 30 minutes ideally. What they say is the happier you are, the shorter your sleep cycle is for both micro and macro. So micro being the 20 to 25 or 20 to 30 minute sleep, whereas your macro being the 1.5 hour long sleep. So the happier you are essentially, the shorter your sleeping window might be, or sleeping cycle. So what we're looking for is roughly 1.5 or the 20 to 30 minutes. If you're laying down for a nap, it is really cool if you can put on some form of meditation or something like that to zoink yourself out. Just get in, get to sleep and get going. The dark cold room applies for when you're having a nap or for when you're actually sleeping over nighttime. And this seems very ancestral. It is. It's like what we used to do back in the day. Okay, we used to go into a cave. We used to find a dark, cold cave, and that's where we would sleep. Essentially, we want that same thing to be happening. If we've got screens in our bedroom lighting up all night long, like they sit on your phone, on your bedside table. If you've got an alarm clock that shoots light into your eyes all night, you've got an aircon with like a little light blaring into your eyes. A smoke detector, anything like this that's emitting light over nighttime. Ideally, what we want to do is cover it up. Get some black tape, cover it up like electrical tape, just to stop that little bit of extra light. There was a study done where they shined a laser pointer on someone's back of their leg when they were sleeping, I do believe. It might have been their eyelash. I can't quite remember in detail, but it was enough to take them out of their sleep cycle. So the deep sleep cycle they were in, the REM stage that they were in, it was enough to take them out. So it's kind of like your alarm waking you up in the middle of your sleep cycle, but it's just coming from light. So the lights that we have in our room can really affect us. Being cold, that's probably a little bit more beneficial for the guys in particular, because they do run a little hotter. Girls, you're just going to need to rug up where possible. There is such thing as a sleeping mat where you've got one side that, like you can choose what temperature you've got each side of the bed at, and that would be great, but I'm pretty sure they're like, I don't know, $2,000 or upwards. I'm not really quite sure on the pricing of those, but I know that they are expensive. So trying to make your room dark and cold is a really cool little hack you can do straight away. We've got these things, they're just blackout curtains from Kmart. I think they cost us 20 bucks each. I think we've got 3 in our room. And what that does is it's a thick curtain, which means it's not allowing extra light to come in from the outside, and that's really worthwhile. If you need to sleep with your window open, obviously that's how you can get a nice bit of airflow, or how you can get a cooler room. But things like aircon and fans are well worthwhile. If you're using the aircon, ideally have a bowl of water in your room so it's not drying you out and making you feel like crap when you do wake up. Last thing I'm going to touch on for sleep for today is going to be around minimizing lights before bed. And this is something we're all starting to hear about. It's having that screen right in front of your face right before we go to sleep. And what this is, it's blocking your melatonin. So blue light is a good thing when it comes from the sun. When we wake up in the morning, we've got this full spectrum of light that comes from the sun. And the blue light that's being emitted from the sun says, hey, it's time to wake up, it's time to be active, let's get up and get after the day. What happens is our screens of a nighttime, your phone screen, your computer screens, your television screen, even the lights that we have on inside of the house or the gym or wherever it might be, those lights that we have blaring of a nighttime are emitting blue light. And what this does is it stops your melatonin production. So essentially, to make it really easy, really simple thinking, we've got serotonin, which boosts your mood up. We've got melatonin, which boosts your mood, drops your mood down. Okay, so when we have enough melatonin of a nighttime, it says, hey, I'm ready for bed, I'm going to go to sleep, and your mind's able to switch off and fully recover the way it should. What happens when we're watching a screen right here until we fall asleep is that although your body is so physically exerted, when we finally get to sleep, your sleep is not a restful or a deep sleep because your brain is still saying, it's daytime, it's time to wake up. I've got blue light going on right now. I need to be awake. So you stay in like a high alert level whilst you're sleeping rather than getting a good recovered sleep. So tips around this, obviously reverse engineering your sleep. So think about when you need to hop up, try to hop into bed maybe 8 hours before that, so you've got half an hour to kind of chill in bed before you actually have to wake up. Making your room dark and cold, getting some, like putting some tape up around the lights, turning the lights off that are inside your room, for instance, like the alarm clocks. When it comes to making your room cold, doing what you need to there, and then minimizing the lights before bed. So say the hour before bed, I'm gonna make sure that the light is pretty dark within the whole house. I'm not gonna be looking at my phone unless I've got something like some blue blocking glasses, which definitely do work as well. So that's a bit of an overhaul on sleep. So let's talk about it. What did you learn about sleep? What is something that you are going to implement now? And that's what this whole thing is going to be about. So I didn't say it before, but if you do not have a pen and paper, now is definitely the time to grab yourself one, because I'm going to be spitting out a whole heap of energy, and we've got a whole heap of education, knowledge, and we've got about 45 minutes left to go, maybe a little bit longer. Okay, so I really want you guys to get as much out of this as you can, because this is exactly what your gym owners wanted from it. Okay, so really thinking about what did you learn about sleep just now? What can you do to improve your sleep, and how are you going to implement it?